one of the issues that President Ruto promised Kenyans in his first 100 days was the reduction in the cost of living. Churchill, do you feel that has happened?
Well, I think, I also agree that that it's also too early to give a scorecard to the president because of the time. And but then also when we look at the first 100 days, some of the promises that may have been made by the Kenya Kwanza administration, remember that politicians at the time when they are always campaigning, they'll always give every extraneous promises to ensure that they win for the votes from the people. And they are never really into thinking of how some of these promises are going to be implemented when they take the reins of power. And this is one of the challenges that I think the administration is facing, because, you know, there are a lot of promises that may have been given, and it gave Kenyans a lot of high expectations. And, you know, to an extent that some of them, like, for example, the cost of living, I mean, it was not possible for however genius you may have been to reduce the cost of living immediately within the first 100 days, considering the circumstances upon which the cost of living in Kenya was rising. It was a global issue. And I think this is one of the things that may have been should have been appreciated by the politicians at the time of the campaigns, so that you don't put a cap within the first 100 days, because it's impractical. And you know, the other thing that I find, you know, which also has made people also less expectant, is also maybe even the whole concept of the whole government, which is the hustler. You know, there was a lot of expectations of people that, you know, this is a hustler government. A hustler government, in the imagination of people, there are those who thought that this is a freebies government, which is not practical, you know. So how people perceived it and how it practically possible did not converge. And that is one of the challenges that I think the president is trying to really try to achieve what people expect of him and the reality of what is possible. It is not possible. He realized that, you know what, for you to reduce the cost of living, you needed to put some subsidies, like what was already there for the fuel subsidy and even the education subsidy. And how do you ensure that, where do you get this money for subsidy? You have to ensure you generate these finances somewhere. So I think the problem is that we overpromised and put an impractical timeline for some of these promises, and so we realized that when we got into power, we cannot achieve them within the timelines that we had given.